At Dead of Night is a terrifying and immersive experience described as, quote, part horror film, part horror game, and part ghost hunt. To describe it simply, it's hard and scary. Really scary. Get me out of here, 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 get me out of here. I wanna go home. I wanna leave. Leave. One. Oh, fuck. But not to worry. Hi there, I'm Kay, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this game easy, and even get that coveted extreme no-hits achievement on your first try like I did. And I'll even be sharing my comprehensive and very useful Google Doc in the description below and in the pinned comment. Let's get into it. First, I'm going to introduce you to some underutilized strategies and mechanics that most people take hours of gameplay to figure out if they even figure it out at all. It's time for you to meet keys. And to actually use them. So as you wander around the hotel, you may notice that you collect deadlock keys to certain rooms. You can use these keys to lock the door from inside, or outside. The outside one is important here. So, what you want to do to lock Jimmy in a room is you want to get him into the room by either calling him until he comes in.
I'm here!
Or just running across him and then running the fuck away. Point is, you want him to know where you are and you want him to go into that room. You want him to open that door. And when he opens that door, as the door creaks open, it plays a little sound. That is when you want to go into the wardrobe, not the bathroom. Don't even look at that bathroom. The bathroom, it's dead to you now, okay? It doesn't exist. It's not real. It just... You're not allowed there anymore. You will die. So as he's opening the door, you want to go into the wardrobe, and you want to wait. And then after the door closes again, it may seem like you're in the clear. He's gone. You're not. He could be hiding in that bathroom. Which is why you want to exit the wardrobe and wait right where you are for like a good minute. You'll notice if you're not playing on controller, like I did once, terrible experience, would not recommend, that the menu button in the bottom right hand corner will be red when you are in imminent danger and Jimmy's nearby. So you just want to keep an eye on that menu button and listen around for Jimmy sounds. Some examples of this are voice lines, which will turn the menu button not red, and also footsteps, which will leave the menu button red. But what these sounds mean is that he's not in the room. He's outside. You tried to play him, and in the end, you played yourself. So once you've established that he's inside the room, what you want to do is fucking spam click on the door. You don't want to hesitate right next to the bathroom because he can and will bonk you if he's in there. And what you want to do once you are outside and Jimmy is inside is you want to pull up your items, go to keys, and select the key of the room that you are in. And if you're facing the door, congratulations, you just locked it. And now, don't quote me on this, because I'm not sure of the actual numbers. But if you're in standard mode, that gives you a good, 30 to 45 seconds before he unlocks the door. And if you're in extreme mode, that gives you a good, 15 seconds. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but I promise you, it's important. It really is. And next up is a strategy that I haven't seen once ever until I started doing it, which is just running away. What the fuck is he gonna do? Follow you? Catch up to you? He can't run. He's slow. He's old and weak and slow, and you are young and fast and strong. Seriously, it's the perfect strategy. Nothing works better than running away. What's he gonna do? Chase you? He can't. If you run fast enough, he can never catch you, unless you loop back around and run into him, in which case he absolutely can. So don't do that. Only run a little bit fast. My preferred strategy is to lock him in rooms, or just to get him in the bathroom, a room I don't have the key for, and just fucking book it to the elevator. Or the stairs, if you actually use those. I just never do. They're very helpful. Almost everybody doesn't know this, and I didn't know this myself until somebody told me, but this next one is a vital detail in the game that can, literally save your fucking life. You may have noticed that when Jimmy comes onto the floor you're on, there's a thunk or thump noise accompanying his arrival. And you also might have noticed that that noise appears like when he's already there. Basically, what this noise means when Jimmy's already on the floor you're on is that he's passing in front of the elevator. Like, you know, the first thunk, that signifies him coming to the floor, but everyone after that, that signifies him passing in front of the elevator, which is very helpful to know because then you can know exactly where he is. I'm sure you can see why it's important to know when he's near the elevators or passing in front of them, especially on the second and third floors that are split into halves and don't just loop around. Now that we've covered the basics of how to best play the game, let's get into making you more efficient. The most efficient way to gather items is to search the entire first floor, as well as 301, 308, and 309 at the very beginning of the game when you first start. This is because after your first encounter with Amy, there's a good 10 to 12 minutes before Jimmy spawns in, and you want to use that time to get through as much of the story as you possibly can. And if you use the strat I outline in the next section, there will be more than enough time to get through the first Dr. Bose encounter before Jimmy even shows up. After you have your first vision of Dr. Bose, you want to very quickly explore the entire second floor from rooms 217 to 223, because the rest is blocked off. Jimmy will spawn in before you manage to finish and loop back to 217 to talk to Dr. Bose, but I find, personally, that it's easier to get the items before Jimmy's there as opposed to talking to Dr. Bose first and then trying to search the whole floor. Just carefully finish exploring the second floor and get back to 217 once he's spawned in using the strats I went over before. Anyway, let's talk about Amy. Amy's annoying. All she ever does is cry about, oh, Jimmy stole my things, Jimmy burned my hand. But not to worry, Amy haters, or just people who want to save time, because you don't have to talk to her ever again after the encounter in 109 that unlocks Dr. Bose. You just don't. You can leave her to cry in that first floor den forever. The game never forces you to finish her story, and your progress automatically just bumps up to 100% after the last Rose encounter. This also has the added benefit of keeping you away from 70% completion for a little bit longer, because at 70%, Jimmy's AI kicks its whole ass into gear, and he goes fucking wild. Another factor in the game that could end your no-hits run is not asking about items. It's best to ask the ghosts about every item you have for them, or just as many as you have at the first safe encounter with them, aka the first one where Jimmy can't rock your shit. For Amy, this safe encounter is the very first encounter with her, where you want to ask her about the child's purse and the turpentine and lighter. You want to ask Dr. Bose about as many items as you have for him at the first safe encounter in 217. Over here is a list of all the items that you need for Dr. Bose. I will not be listing them. There's far too many. During your first encounter with Harvey in 307, you want to have searched the entire second floor so that you can ask him about every item needed for his story, listed over here. Now, Rose is a little complicated because she has a few items that only unlock at certain points of the story, but you generally want to follow the same idea with her and ask her about like everything you have for her at the time with the second encounter on the ground floor. Though I would like to add that you should definitely use this time on the safe ground floor to ask her about the wedding ring and the Great Hugo. Now, you can totally skip this next one if you want, because this is a lot of effort for very, very little payoff, but it does make the game a bit easier for like a good chunk of it. Jimmy's AI gets progressively more and more aggressive as you progress throughout the game, especially when you finish a ghost story. So I came up with this only marginally useful strat where you just don't finish a single story until you're forced to in order to start Rose. So basically, the way this goes is you leave Amy at 109. After your encounter with her in 109, you just leave her, as you know, as you should. You should. I'm a big advocate for just leaving Amy to cry forever, because you don't have to finish her story, so why should you? But if you're not doing Harvey and Dr. Bose's stories at the same time, if you're just doing one and the other, which I do not recommend, you want to leave Dr. Bose in the games room at the encounter where you see Dr. Bose in the game room. And basically what you do is you just leave him there until you get to the end of Harvey. Granted, you know, you do have to finish Dr. Bose first and then go have the vision of the Great Hugo, or else your game kind of breaks a little. Learn that the hard way. But this is marginally helpful. Sometimes. In very specific situations where you don't do Harvey and Dr. Bose at the same time. At Dead of Night can be like a pretty difficult game to play, especially on your first playthrough, but hopefully everything I've told you today makes it just a little bit easier, and also makes extreme no-hits just a little bit easier. A lot of this footage is from various Twitch streams I did when I was on an extreme no-hits kick and only played this game for like 2 months straight. If you like At Dead of Night or just like seeing extreme no-hits runs, I do them periodically from time to time, but regularly I do play horror games. So if you like horror games or just like spooky themed cozy games, you should definitely check out my Twitch. There's a link in the description below and also in the pinned comment. I'd really love it if you checked me out. But anyway, have a great day, happy achievement hunting, and I hope you don't get bonked by Jimmy. Bye.